Dr. Kwabena Bempatando is a former Deputy Director General in charge of Ghana Education Service. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Omar.
The results are not looking good, but the GES says at least there's some integrity with the results that have been released. We should take solace in that. It's sort of a consolation prize for us. What's your reaction?
Well, Omar, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to have this discussion. I have seen the statement by my former agency, the Ghana Education Service. And my first reaction is that statement, if anything, shouldn't have been put out by the Ghana Education Service, because the service is not in the business of politics, but rather in the business of implementing policy. And that statement was a bit too politically charged to be put out by the Ghana Education Service. That should have been done, if anything, by the ministry, so that it can be seen as the political arm. So I felt that was a bit unfortunate that the Ghana Education Service would put out such a statement. Now, the part of the Ghana Education Service statement that also worried me was that the Ghana Education Service all of a sudden is saying that the West Africa Examination Council that has been conducting examinations in this country for some 40 plus years, if not more than that, all of a sudden the West Africa Examination Council until this year had always been allowing more practice to happen without it being checked, which is quite unfortunate for the Ghana Education Service, whose Director General sits on the council as the council chair, to make such a statement, because to all of a sudden say that this is the first year that there has been integrity in the exam is to imply that somehow the West Africa Examination Council has been allowing examination malpractice to happen unchecked and not do anything about it. So I felt that was also a bit unfortunate. Now, the examination results itself raises alarm for all of us. Whether you are in the GES or you are a parent or the media like you guys are bringing attention to it because it raises alarm. The reason why that examination results raises alarm is because for the first time since about 2019 or so, all 4 core subject areas, there has been reduction in terms of the percentage points or in terms of the pass rates, which is A1 to C6. A1 to C6 is the pass rate, as the previous speaker so eloquently talked about. That is the pass rate that allows students to go into tertiary education. So that has always been the measure by which WASSCE puts out its results, especially in senior high school. Now, mind you, the senior high school examination is also a criterion reference examination. It is not a norm reference. So it cannot be said that WASSCE will all of a sudden change its grading criteria in a criterion reference examination. So the performance can be compared year on year. The results this year just shows that some things dropped drastically. Core mathematics dropped by 18.13 percentage points. Social studies dropped by 15.71 percentage points. Integrated science about 1.03, and English basically stayed flat. And even though it dropped by some 0.52 percentage points. So that is the worrying thing that as educational policy implementers, we need to be worried about, not putting out political statements. Now, if you want to at least have some type of an explanation for why these things are dropping, what you need to look at is, okay, what has happened over, say, the past 5 or 10 years? What has remained constant and what has changed? I heard the speaker talk about the fact that some things are still happening. But I just left the Ghana Education Service, and my checks show that the academic intervention, which had been in place since 2018, has not been paid this year. And we are not talking about the allowance. The allowances are not the reason. Their statements they gave, that's an allowance that is paid in November. That doesn't impact an exam that was taken in September or October. We're talking about the academic intervention grants that have been there, allowing teachers to provide additional support services, supplementary instruction, extra classes to all our students. That has not happened over the past year. So if you are looking at what may contribute, one of it may be that the extra academic support has not been available to students because the resources have not gone. That's number one. Number two, you can talk about the fact that from about 2019 coming all the way till this year, there was always a workshop that was provided to the core subject teachers in terms of the understanding of difficult to teach topic areas. This year, from January until now, that training has not happened for core subject teachers. 3, WASSCE chief examiners' reports are usually put into a workshop where the chief examiners themselves meet with all of the department heads for the core subjects across at the time I was there, about 700 or 800 schools. That was about 3,500 core subject department heads across all of our senior high schools and senior high technical schools. That training for the departments to understand challenges that may have happened in previous exams didn't happen. So for me, what I would say is that maybe those interventions that were in place, supporting students to be able to better prepare for examinations, that is the only thing that has changed. So if that is what has changed and the result is showing that the students didn't perform, then the correlation that I can make is that those interventions, if they had continued, then and then the results came down, then I cannot say it was because of those interventions, but because the results have gone down, and this is the only thing that are changing in terms of how education is being implemented, then I can at least generalize, or I can at least point to the fact that A, B, and C are no longer there. And because A, B, and C are no longer there, it is reflecting in the examination.
Okay.
And I think that we just need to be able to examine and see what happened and what has changed and why has it affected performance so badly.
Okay. You are an education person, but you're also a politician, and I also do know that the NPP is going into elections and you do not necessarily support your former boss, Dr. Educhum, in the election. However, when the GES takes him to the cleaners, would you be on the side of GES, or the facts do not support the claim of the GES about the cancellation of allowances at all?
Well, this is what I was trying to say earlier. The GES's claim, and I don't have their statement in front of me, but I think it's their third line.
Yes, I can read it. It says, it is not true that the GES has cancelled any allowance due to teachers as claimed by Dr. Educhum in his engagement with some media houses. Indeed, the Controller and Accountant General's Department has publicly clarified the reasons for the non-payment of the November allowances for teachers.
Thank you. What the GES is trying to do is not to have the full explanation. I believe that what Dr. Educhum was talking about is not the November allowance. The November allowance would have no impact on an examination that was written in September and October. It is the academic intervention grants, 50 cedis per student for the entire country, that has not been paid. So we cannot use our oranges to replace what are apples. So yes, we know what the Controller and Accountant General is saying about allowances that have not been paid in November, and the fact that it was a mistake in their process and it will be paid in December. Academic intervention grants are not part of that particular allowance. The academic intervention grant is a specific intervention that happens year-round to support the students. So I think that they are trying to compare our apples and oranges, and we just need to be sincere in our explanations.
All right, let's leave it here. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Maru. I really appreciate the opportunity.
That's former Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Kwabena Bempah.